is over, everybody's responsible for racking their stands and for taking the chair that you're sitting on, folding it up, and putting it in a stack. We already have a stack of chairs back here. It started, yes. Aaron will help. Joshua will help, yes. So you have a date. You have a date right after this? Well, you can help. All right, that's our responsibility. The section principals need the 4 commencement pieces. Just hand the 4 commencement pieces down. It's what we play during the service. Okay? And then everybody have a really great Christmas break. And then we'll get really stressed out starting in January, getting ready for our concert.
For amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Zane Cawthon, for your wonderful moving America the Beautiful, and to our orchestra. I'd invite you, if you would, to join with us, join our hearts in prayer. Most gracious and loving God, we gather before you this day in celebration of life, life that is changing and growing in and before you. We pray that your Spirit would engulf our hearts this day so that all we do and say may be bound by your will for us. We pray in particular for these graduates before you who hold their dreams and visions deeply within their hearts filled with expectancy toward a bright future. And now, O Lord, by your providence, guide us, sustain us, lift us, hold us, be with us in our joy and our excitement as we experience the fullness of the gift of this day. To you, O God, our Redeemer, Sustainer, and Creator, we do pray. Amen. Please be seated. Degree candidates and family and honored guests, faculty and administrators and staff, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the chairman of the University of Tulsa Board of Trustees, L. Dwayne Wilson, class of 1962.
Thank you, Chaplain Francis. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 140th commencement exercises of the University of Tulsa. To our degree candidates, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I congratulate each of you on completing your studies, and I commend you for preparing yourself to be a contributor, lifelong contributor, in the workplace and in the larger community. We wish you every success in those endeavors as you put your learnings to work in the years ahead. Congratulations also to the parents, family members, and friends who have supported these students throughout the years and helped bring them to this day. Your many investments in these individuals are reflected in the success that we celebrate here this morning. We encourage our graduates to remain active in the life of TU. We ask for your continued partnership, which is essential to our ability to maintain and build this great university for generations of students to come. So now, it is my pleasure to introduce the president of the University of Tulsa, Dr. Gerard Clancy.
Well, thank you, Chairman Wilson, and a warm welcome to each of our degree candidates, family members, and friends today. Also, welcome to faculty and other visitors, including those who are watching our live online stream. I will begin by recognizing the representatives seated here on the platform. I will ask these individuals to stand as I call their names and to remain standing until everyone has been introduced. Please hold your applause until the end. Beginning with the trustees, Chairman L. Dwayne Wilson, who just greeted us, Barbara Allen, J. Scott Dickman, Frederick Dorwart, David R. Easton, A. Charles Funai, Susie Collins Henschel, Andrew McKay, Marsha Mott McLeod, A.H. Chip McElroy, Sanjay D. Meshri, Ross O. Swimmer, Dana S. Weber, Rondi S. Whiteman, and Emeritus Trustee Bert Holmes. Also seated on the platform are the following university representatives: Adrian Alexander, RM, and Ida McFarland, Dean of the Library, Roger N. Blaze, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Jacqueline Caldwell, Vice President for Diversity and Engagement, Lynn Enseroth, Dean of the College of Law, the Reverend Jeffrey C. Francis, Sharp Chaplain, Derek Gregg, Vice President and Director of Athletics, Janet Haggerty, Dean of the Graduate School and Vice Provost for Research, Kayla Hale, Vice President for Institutional Advancement, Earl Johnson, Vice President for Enrollment and Student Services, Janet Levitt, Vice President for Strategic Initiatives, Kalpana Mishra, Dean of the Henry Kendall College of Arts and Sciences, Susan Neal, Vice President for Public Affairs, Research, and Economic Development, Robin Ploger, Dean of the Oxley College of Health Sciences, James R. Sorum, Dean of the College of Engineering and Natural Sciences, and Gail Sullenberger, Dean of the Collins College of Business. Finally, Phil Applegate, Dean of Lifelong Learning. Also welcome Ray Bradley, President of the TU Faculty Senate and Professor of Accounting, Andrew Hansen, President of the TU Student Association, Jackie Griffin, President of the Tulsa Chapter of the Alumni Association, TU Class of 2003 and TU Law Class of 2006, and our commencement speaker, Rilla Askew, TU Class of 1980. Please join me in recognizing all of these distinguished guests. You may all be seated. Once during graduation, I forgot to tell the entire audience to sit, and they stood for 15 minutes. As I noted a moment ago, Roger Blaze is our Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. He's retiring at the end of this academic year after more than 40 years of exemplary service at the University of Tulsa. Roger has been a member of the TU faculty since 1977. He has served more than 20 years as Provost. By his count, during that time, he has witnessed the graduations of more than 20,000 students. He also conducted job interviews for nearly 3/4 of our current faculty members. Many of you today are graduating from programs that were established under Roger's leadership. Roger, we are grateful for your long and distinguished service to the University of Tulsa. As we move TU forward, we have the privilege of working from a strong, nationally competitive position that is, in no small way, the product of your leadership, effort, and collegiality. Friends, as he comes to the podium, please join me in saluting Provost Blaze for his many years of service.
Thank you all so much. We're sitting in this beautiful arena tonight, or this morning, which didn't exist here when I came, as the same is true of many buildings. But I'm struck by the degree to which the university is so much more than buildings. It's really people. And it's been the privilege and joy of my life to be able to work with so many wonderful people. Colleagues on the faculty who've mentored me and done wonderful work creating scholarly products and teaching generations of students. Staff who never forget that it's all about the students, and above all, the students. President Clancy mentioned more than 20,000. I don't remember them all by name, but I do remember a lot of them who now at this age are actually approaching the ends of some of their careers, and they have contributed so much to the world in the arts and in the sciences and technology and business, and so much in healthcare and in all of the areas where they have devoted their personal service as well. So it's really a pleasure to have spent this many years with so many wonderful people. I thank you all. Now I have the pleasure of recognizing this year's recipient of the Marcy Lawless Service Award. This honor is granted to the graduating student who most closely emulates the spirit, creativity, and commitment to others demonstrated by TU First Lady Emerita, Marcy Lawless. I'm pleased to ask this year's recipient to come forward to receive this honor. Please join me in welcoming TU Senior Lawrence Ben Siner. We'll make you stand here while I say a few nice things about you.
It's good, man.
Throughout his time at TU, Ben has been a dedicated volunteer to the greater Tulsa community. His service to others includes working with rehabilitation patients at the Center for Individuals with Physical Challenges, being a reading partner for students at Kendall Whittier Elementary School, volunteering to teach and lead the University School Junior Robotics team, and serving as the Catoosa High School Wrestling Volunteer Assistant Coach. It's a remarkable span of roles. Ben is also a member of Alpha Phi Omega, a coeducational service fraternity here on the campus at TU. The award selection committee wanted to note that Ben was nominated by several people, and their testimonials were very passionate and thoughtful. One of the nominators says, quote, "There are few people who willingly volunteer a few hours a year, but let alone hundreds. But Ben is not one to shy away from doing a good thing. With approximately 300 hours of volunteering in the past year, Ben has shown his generous spirit and commitment to serve others like none others have. Although Ben devotes many hours a week to helping others, he's able to balance the time to excel in his pursuit of a degree in engineering. Ben, in recognition of your inspired service on behalf of the students, faculty, administration, and staff, I'm pleased to present you with this award, which carries with it a stipend of $1,200 and our heartfelt congratulations. I don't know if we get a picture or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll return the podium back to President Clancy for the introduction of our commencement speaker.
Thank you, Provost Blaze. University of Tulsa alumna Rilla Askew is the author of 4 novels, a book of stories, and a collection of creative nonfiction. She graduated from TU in 1980 with a bachelor's degree in theater, then moved to New York to pursue an acting career. But once there, Miss Askew began writing plays and then fiction. In 1987, she enrolled in the writing program at Brooklyn College, where she completed her MFA in 1989. 3 years later, she published Strange Business, a collection of stories set in a fictional small town in southeastern Oklahoma. It's worth noting that Miss Askew is a 5th-generation Oklahoman, and both she and her work have deep roots in the state. Her first novel, The Mercy Seat, was inspired by old stories about her family's migration into Indian Territory in the late 1800s. Her novel, Fire in Beulah, centers on the 1921 race riot, and another novel, Harp Song, recalls the suffering of the Great Depression. Her most recent novel, Kind of Kin, is the story of a small town caught up in immigration laws. Ms. Askew's latest work, Most American, Notes from a Wounded Place, is a collection of creative nonfiction that posits Oklahoma as the most American of places. Her essays and short fiction have appeared in many outlets, including Tin House, World Literature Today, Nimrod, Tri-Quarterly, The Daily Beast, and the Daily Telegraph, among others. Ms. Askew has twice received the Western Heritage Award for Best Novel and is a 3-time recipient of the Oklahoma Book Award. She is also a Penn Faulkner Award finalist and has received the American Book Award, the Myers Book Award, and the Violet Crown Award. In 2009, she received the Arts and Letters Award from the American Academy of Arts and Letters. She is a member of the Oklahoma Writers Hall of Fame and received the 2011 R.L. Gibson Lifetime Achievement Award from the Oklahoma Center for the Book. Ms. Askew and her husband, actor Paul Austin, live in Norman, where she teaches creative writing at the University of Oklahoma. Please join me now in welcoming Rilla Askew.
Thank you, President Clancy, for that wonderful introduction. It's such an honor to be here today to help celebrate you wonderful graduates from this wonderful university. When I walked across the stage to receive my diploma in 1980, I don't think I ever would have imagined or ever dreamed that I would be standing here giving a commencement speech for graduates of the University of Tulsa. I had dreams. I had big dreams, but I don't think this was ever one of them. Some time ago, my husband gave me a greeting card, and on that greeting card was a quote from the author, Michael Dooley. And that card says, "The one thing all famous authors, world-class athletes, business leaders, singers, actors, and celebrated achievers in any field have in common is that they all began their journeys when they were none of these things." And I keep that card actually in my office at the University of Oklahoma where I teach. I keep it there for students to see because almost all the students who come into my office are aspiring young writers, and I think it's good to remember that none of us start out with the accomplishments that we eventually end up with. But mostly I keep it there for myself because I keep it there to remind me that every student is a dreamer. Every student is an achiever. Every student will, in his or her way, do great things. When I graduated from TU, this wonderful facility still had not yet been built in 1980, so we had our graduation ceremonies at what was called the Old Civic Center downtown in Tulsa. And my parents, of course, came. They drove down from Bartlesville. My grandparents came, drove up from the small town of in southeastern Oklahoma called Red Oak. They were proud of me, as your parents are proud of you, as your families are proud of you today. They were also a little stunned, I think. I think my graduation was a bit of a miracle. I was the first of my generation to receive a college degree. In fact, my mother was the first member of her family to complete her high school education. And my father's mother started teaching school in southeastern Oklahoma when she had only an 8th grade education. And she went on for decades to continue to get her high school diploma and ultimately her college diploma. And so I was not the first in my family to receive a college degree, but I was the first to do it in only 11 years. It did take me a while to find my way. So my first major, when I started out, right out of high school, I went to Oklahoma Baptist University, and I declared myself to be a journalism major because I had been on the high school newspaper staff and the yearbook staff, and I loved to write, and I cared about the world and its stories. But it turned out that journalism was not it for me. So I dropped out of school for a little while, like 4 years. Then when I went back to school, I enrolled at Northeastern in Tahlequah, and I became a special education major, and I had a theater minor. I liked special education. I very much liked the students, the children that we worked with in Special Olympics. I liked my fellow students in our special ed club on the campus. But I loved the theater. I loved acting. I loved what we used to call doing plays. I loved the excitement, the imagined world, the lights, the sets, the costumes, the camaraderie in the green room. I especially loved what those plays and those playwrights gave to me, what they helped me see, how they illuminated facets of the human character that I'd not thought of before, how they helped me see so many worlds outside myself, what it means to be human. What I didn't fully understand then, but what was resonating in me, awakening by my love of the theater, was the rich, incomparable human endeavor that we call art. I later came to discover these same wider horizons in myself in literature, and in painting, and in music, and dance. I loved it, but I thought it wasn't practical. It didn't seem to make sense to me in any kind of a sensible way to get a bachelor's degree in theater. But still, I had this yearning. Theater had awakened this yearning in me. I was coming awake in other ways, and it happened that the early days of my college career coincided with the early days of the women's liberation movement. All around the country, women were getting together for what we called consciousness-raising sessions. Well, I didn't really think my consciousness needed to be raised. I thought it was pretty fine, thank you. But other women that I admired were doing this same consciousness raising, so I did it too. We would sit around someone's living room in Tahlequah, drinking coffee or drinking wine, and talking. Just talking. Openly, honestly, in ways I'd never considered doing. About ourselves, about our attitudes, but especially about the forces in the culture around us that shaped us, that told us, no, you can't do that, that told us, yes, you must do this. And I was astonished to discover how thoroughly and unconsciously I subscribed to the forces of patriarchy in America. I came to see how much I didn't think women could do, and how much I had not known that I didn't think women could do that. For instance, back in those days, it didn't occur to me to think of seeing a woman in the clergy, a woman preaching in the pulpit, a woman offering communion. I would not have imagined then a woman governor, a woman president. I had a lot of discovering to do about myself and my own silent, insidious, unacknowledged attitudes. Later, and especially after I began to write, I would need to turn this same kind of searchlight on myself to examine my internal attitudes in terms of issues of race and class. Then I discovered whole worlds of secret, silent bias that I didn't know I possessed. The presumptions of whiteness that were part of my birthright as a person growing up white in this country. To do my work in the world, I had to begin to understand that the forces arrayed against the very principles I believed in, equal rights, equal opportunities, social and political justice, were not only outside me, but inside me. There was a third invisible force at work in me in those years. I didn't have a name for it. For a long time, I was not aware that it existed. Betty Friedan, in her 1963 groundbreaking work, The Feminine Mystique, wrote about what she called the problem that has no name. She was writing about conditions for women. But I suffered my own version of a problem that has no name. It was an invisible thread that laced through the years of my early life, and it was part of why it took me so long to find what my work in the world would be. But because it had no name, it was hard for me to identify it. It was a kind of diffidence and uncertainty inside me, a lack of confidence in my ability to accomplish my dreams. This uncertainty was not tied to my identity as a woman or my identity as a person of a certain class. It was tied to my identity as an Oklahoman. The fact is, I didn't then dream that one could create art coming out of Oklahoma, that one of us could be a great actress, an accomplished novelist, a celebrated achiever, a mover and shaker on the national stage, because that's where my eyes were, the national stage. That's where I thought the world was, out there. I certainly, in those days, did not think that it was here in this dusty, flat, nondescript, nobody ever writes about us or thinks about us or even knows where we are, Oklahoma. My home state seemed then to me to be a black hole in the center of the country. I wanted to shake its dust off my heels and make for the coasts where the real world was. But I was afraid. I had this great yearning, but I did not quite believe. So I continued with my special education studies. I continued acting and doing plays. I dreamed, but I did not take action. For a long time, I didn't. And then I did. Rather radically, and to the disappointment of many, I quit school at Northeastern just 12 hours away from completing my degree in special education. I moved here to Tulsa. I got a job waiting tables. My intention then was to work for 6 months, save enough money, and go to New York so I could become that actress that I wanted to be. As it happened, I got stuck in Tulsa for another couple of years, which turned out to be a very good thing. Theater was alive and well in Tulsa. In those days, we had no fewer than 6 active theater companies. I took a job at Theater Tulsa. I acted in plays. I came to love this city. Most important, I decided to go back to school to finish my degree. Not in special education, but in theater, here at the University of Tulsa. And it was my professors here at the University of Tulsa who gave me a confidence and a sense of certainty. They allowed me to not only to dream, but to believe. Not only to believe, but to do. Dr. David Cook, Dr. Nancy Vunovich, Professor Fred Graves, they all confirmed for me that I was capable of doing that which I longed to do. That it was, in fact, a matter of doing. They confirmed for me the words of the philosopher Herbert Spencer, who said, "The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action." So when I graduated, I walked across the stage at that old Civic Center with, I think, no doubt, the same sense of accomplishment that you all have here this morning. I sensed very much the pride that my family had in me. And I had inside myself hunger and ambition and yearning, which I'd had for a long time. But for the first time, I also had true belief that I could follow my life's passion, that I could take action, that I could do what I wanted to do. So within just a few months of graduation, I packed my bags, sold my pickup truck, cobbled together a few $100s, and lit out for New York to become that famous actress. It took a few years in New York, the encouragement of the man who would become my husband, and truthfully, a considerable number of acting jobs that I didn't get before I turned from acting to writing. Making that decision to stop acting and begin to write was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was harder than the decision to go to New York in the first place. It felt like a failure, you know. I'd gone to New York to act. I had declared this to the world, to all my friends in Oklahoma, to all my friends in New York, and now I was going to switch gears. I was going to change identities. I was going to say, oh, I'm not that, I'm this. But something in me knew the truth, that by spirit and by temperament, and in fact by ability, I'm much more fundamentally a writer than an actor. I wasn't that. I was this. Still, it didn't occur to me that I would write about Oklahoma. I didn't think Oklahoma was a place worthy to be written about. My early stories were set in New York City, where I lived. They were set in places I'd visited, California, Mexico City. I wrote one story set somewhere I'd never been, on a train rattling through Yugoslavia in the middle of the night, because I thought those were the places that were worthy of fiction. I didn't think that the little oil company town of Bartlesville, 50 miles north of here, or the hardscrabble mountains of southeastern Oklahoma, where my family has lived for 5 generations, or this place here, this magic city, this oil capital, this race-riven Tulsa, were places worthy of fiction. It took outsiders, really, to tell me that they were. I went back to school to study creative writing. If studying acting here at TU gave me the tools and the confidence I needed to pursue that first dream, it only made sense to go back to school to study the art and craft of fiction. And so I enrolled in the MFA program at Brooklyn College, and it was in my writing workshops there when I would bring in a story about a girl who meets a boy at False Creek Baptist Assembly Summer Bible Church Camp, or a story told in my grandfather's rural southeastern voice, or a story about the last official Choctaw execution that took place near my family's hometown of Red Oak. It was the other writers in the workshop who would say to me, you know, Rilla, you've got something here. This is authentic. This is a voice. And I said, well, okay. And I began. It was a while longer before I began to discover Oklahoma's true history, how complex and heartening and heartbreaking it is. It took years for me to first learn about the horrific pogrom, which many today call the Tulsa Race Riot. It took a long time for me to know that uncovering layers of character and story in Oklahoma and in Tulsa's true history would become my life's work. The novelist Richard Ford tells young writers, find what sets up a commotion in your heart and write about that. I would say the same thing to all of us here today. Find your life's passion, that thing that sets up a commotion in your heart, and follow it. Because that's what will give you the key traits that everyone who accomplishes great things have. Relentlessness, resiliency, persistence, perseverance. I know that in some ways those seem like very similar characteristics, but there are subtle differences. Relentlessness means a kind of enduring presence or pressure. There's no let-up, showing no lessening of strength or intensity. Persistence is firm, some would say obstinate, continuance in a course of action. Perseverance is steadfastness, endurance in the face of adversity, a profound determination to overcome. These are all about staying the course. And persistence, that ability to continue in action in the face of disapproval or difficulty, it's a vital trait. And yet I would say, if that commotion in your heart changes, as it did for me from acting to writing, go with it. That's part of what it means to be resilient. Not being afraid to change course as we discover new truths about ourselves, including ways that we've internalized the very forces that would stop us if they could. The forces that say, no, you dare not. Don't go there. You can't do that. Some of you here today may have your own version of a problem that has no name. Yours is very likely nothing like mine. It may be nothing like the person who's sitting next to you or down the row. And if that force does have a name, call it out. It could be the larger forces in our culture. It could be racism, misogyny, paternalism, economic insecurity, climate change. It could be more personal forces of familial and peer expectations, or that you don't know yet what you want to do or how you're going to do it. It could be that uncomfortable balance between yearning and fear. You're commencing the world in a very challenging age. You know that. We all know that. But every generation has its challenges. This is one of the great values and one of the great comforts of studying history. Because no matter how worrisome or troubling today may seem, through the long lens of history, we see that we've been here before. So this current age is a time of such rapid technological and social change. It's unseen in the world since Gutenberg invented the printing press. It may seem that we're living in a uniquely fractured age, but I think it is not entirely unique. And I think that the very forces that frighten and divide an older generation will not seem the same to you. It'll be your generation, a generation that my colleagues and I have great faith in, who'll keep that fracturing from shattering our institutions, our people, our state, ourselves. Truly, you here are the ones to do this. I believe, in fact, that in your hands and in your doing, your action, this fracturing will not seem like a splintering. In the future, it will seem more like refracting, as happens with light in a prism, where the single white beam is refracted into an entire spectrum of color. But the thing is to not let our fears swamp our dreams. I've heard it said that every successful person begins with two beliefs: that the future can be better than the present, and that I have that power to make it so. You all of here have that power. Those of you who have come here from elsewhere, who've come here from other cities, other states, other countries to complete your education, you'll perhaps return home. You might move somewhere else in pursuit of your careers and your bright futures, and you'll still have this same fractured world to bear witness to take action in, to make better. But a special word for those of you who happen to come from Oklahoma, who have ties of history and family here, who love our magnificent skies, our great spaces and windy light, our fundamental characteristics of decency and friendliness and generosity. You won't find a better place to make that better future than right here, because this place is worthy. It took me half a lifetime to understand that. Our story, even with its wounds and its darkness, is a worthy story. We hold within us, in addition to our failures, the human characteristics of compassion and decency. We're capable of great generosity, heroism, innovation, change. The great things that you all will do is unique to every individual one of you. That will be your work in the world. It may be how you cultivate compassion. It may be how you take care of your family. It may be how you use your resiliency and your relentlessness, your persistence and your perseverance to create a better world, a better city, a better state, a better community, a better nation. Congratulations on all you've accomplished. Congratulations on all your beginnings. Congratulations on everything that you are getting ready to do in the world. Godspeed.
Thank you, Rilla, for sharing your perspectives and experiences with us today. We're always grateful when an alumna comes back to share encouragement with our newest alumni. Now, I have the honor of presenting our degree candidates. Some of the candidates whose degrees will be granted are not able to be with us today. In addition, the College of Law held its hooding ceremony yesterday, and its graduates are represented this morning by Dean Lynn Enseroth. We congratulate them on their achievements, and we wish them every success. An important commencement tradition is the special recognition of students who have earned a grade point average of 3.5 or above during their total undergraduate careers at the University of Tulsa. Our recognition designates these superior grade point averages with terms that identify precise academic achievement. After each honor graduate's name is read, one of the following designations will be added. Cum laude, signifying a grade point average of 3.5 to 3.79. Magna cum laude, signifying a grade point average of 3.8 to 3.99. And summa cum laude, signifying a grade point average of 4.0. Honor students can also be recognized by the gold tassel cords worn around the neck. Will the candidates for degrees please rise? President Clancy, these candidates have fulfilled all the requirements for graduation, and upon recommendation of the faculty and their colleges, are now presented to you to receive the appropriate degrees.
Thank you, Provost Blaze. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of Tulsa and the state of Oklahoma, I confer upon you the degrees for which your deans have recommended you, with all the honors, rights, and privileges pertaining thereto. You may now move your tassels from right to left to designate your status as graduates of the University of Tulsa. Congratulations. You may now be seated. We will now proceed with the awarding of individual degrees. There is one rule for the audience. Cheer as loud as you can. I recognize the Dean of the Oxley College of Health Sciences, Dr. Robin Ploger.
Thank you, President Clancy. Will the graduates from the Oxley College of Health Sciences please come forward to receive your diplomas?
Brandon K. Keys. Brittany Lynn Starr. Leah Hillman, summa cum laude. Otugo Namdi. Alexander George Pagonis. Cameron Owen Drackett. Frankie Lamont Davis, Jr.
The Oxley College of Health Science graduates may be seated. I recognize the Dean of the Collins College of Business, Dr. Gail Sullenberger.
Thank you, President Clancy. Graduates of the Collins College of Business who received bachelor's degrees today, please rise and come forward to receive your diplomas.
Connor A. Nichols. Andrea Hope Bruger. Colby Teal Laborn. Nick McVeigh. Caleb Reed Dale. Charles Andrew Friedman. Jackson Brent Stewart. Mary Meeker. Danny Chappelle Williams, Jr. Daniel Brannon Melacone, cum laude. Jennifer Elizabeth Backus. Andrew H. Track. Ahmad Mohammed Al-Beji. Giovanna Lebdesenko Barbosa. Lyria de Jesus Alves. Charlotte Ellen Thornton. Sebastian Smith, summa cum laude. Michael Preston Soper. Mingli Zhou. Ling Zhu. Mingjin Tong. Zayu Chen. Xingyang Mei. Chai Zhu. Abdul Rahman Ibrahim Amureki. Ur Ramharel. Abdulmijid Nabil Abalushi. Golya Hamoud Al-Hashmi. Ruzi Su. Yin Chang Lua. Alyssa Ann Lamont. Colin Butler Crisp. Siti Nur Maisera Azami. Yushi Chen. Ewan Yang, cum laude. Abai Chibadav. Jonathan A. Jones, cum laude. Simon Boer.
The Collins College of Business graduates may be seated. I recognize the Dean of the College of Engineering and Natural Sciences, Dr. James Sorum.
Thank you, President Clancy. Will the graduates from the various undergraduate degree programs in the College of Engineering and Natural Sciences please rise and come forward to receive your diplomas?
Shiki Kwe. Kian Kwe. Yao Lu. Xiaoqing Fon. Daisong Lu. Jiwan Li. Yuchi Tong. Dua Hao. Chu Hao Chang. Jianlin Hung, magna cum laude. Kimberly Orr. Ahmed Altoki. Jahad Hamed Anebani. Yusuf Yaku Al-Sumehi. Tasia Makapati, magna cum laude. Abigail May Mason, cum laude. Zachary Josiah Korb. Melissa Christine Bergert. Quentin Matthew Jager. Lauren Danielle Eck. Timothy Davis. Dana Suze, summa cum laude. Senna Suze, cum laude. Suhaib Al-Nujar. Pedro Alberto Romo. Geraldine Sage Ong Wen. Marcel Coran Jones. Benton Alexander Tenorio. Lian Dong Wong. Winyon Zhang. Bowen Ho. Brian Leland Flake, cum laude. Roma Dulari Shalia. Emily Catherine Malucci. Caroline Marie Schell. Matthew Peter Mora. Caitlin Elizabeth Killeen. Chu-Wei Lu. Hongjin Li, cum laude. Qingting Zhu. Yu-Hao Shou. Yu-Jun Shu. Xinghao Yin. Andrew Fargo Stone, Jr. Austin Dwight Hostetler. Tychicus Calvin Jones, Jr. Wilson Gilberto Aptistis Antonio. Kendall Strain. Jonathan Major. Bradley Wayne Claggett. Emily Louise Dittis, magna cum laude. Hussein Al-Akil. Hussein Mansour Al-Yami. Ian James Belovich. Juchen Song. Zhenqi Zhang. Levi Tillman Conley. Lumesa Hadi Saeed Al-Harthi. Esma Mohammed Al-Kiyumi. Amira Mohammed Salim Al-Abri. Farhat Rashid Al-Amari. Noor Amalina Silaiman, cum laude. Luke Yiktai Lau. Amdivani, cum laude. Rachel Patricia Mary. Ahmed Salim Mohammed Armak Reishi, summa cum laude. Omar Ali Al-Duhi, magna cum laude. Ismail Salih Kamas Arumedi, cum laude. Kusay Ali Hamed Al-Hine. Joshua William Hinkle. Jiyung Lu. Philippe Edouard Bled, magna cum laude. Jacob Nicholas George. Parker Butterworth. Robert Douglas Lucan. Chase Alexander Ogden. Rong Fon. Peen Yong. Jihad Alathan. Anderson Wu. Ahmad K. Lavenue. Mikhail Anthony Collette. Kanbao Ku, magna cum laude. Rakan Al-Humaid, cum laude. Naif Mohammed Al-Asaf, magna cum laude. Mohammed Al-Kepani. Abdullah Munir Al-Tuwabi. Adil Ali Saeed Al-Hosni. Shihab Ahmed Al-Mur Al-Rabi. Ahmed Abdullah Yaqub Aishayeli. Walid Mohammed Al-Hatmi. Soleh Armazouk, cum laude. Yaha Hassan Al-Mufud.
The College of Engineering and Natural Science graduates may be seated. I recognize the Dean of the Henry Kendall College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Kalpana Mishra.
Thank you, President Clancy. Will the graduates of the Kendall College of Arts and Sciences please rise and come forward to receive your diplomas?
Jacob Mahmood. Hannah Grace Hudspeth. Julia Rose Westbrook, cum laude. Clark James Hofling. Joshua Oliver Westbrook. Joshua William Henkel. Julie K. Wallace. Florence Lewis. Madeline Ann Doyle. Stratton Zachary Brooks. Cole David Way. Forrest Neil Rice, magna cum laude. Caitlin Renee Rice, cum laude. Saltanat Mimagambetova. Amy Elizabeth Bailey. Harrison Champ Brockwell. Justin Marcus Bell. Rachel Thun Blankenship. Madeline Joy Kane, cum laude. Rebecca Lynn Reeve. Brooke Delaney Berryhill. Ian Charles Betty, cum laude. Josiah Daniel Moser. Alex Carbajal, cum laude. Alexander Dwan Diep, cum laude. Seth Onyi Blair. Brady Wayne Mahalik. Riley Duche Sanford, magna cum laude. Rachel Francis, magna cum laude. Or Ram Harrell. Jackson Brent Stewart.
The Henry Kendall College of Arts and Sciences graduates may be seated as I recognize the Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Janet Haggerty, assisted by Adrian Alexander, RM, and Ida McFarland, Dean of the Library.
Thank you, President Clancy. Will the master's graduates please rise and come forward to receive your diplomas?
Erin Marie Allred. Cody Tucker. Matthew David Van Winkle. James Rogers. Paul J. Harris, Jr. Garrett Dooley. Zachary Gauker. Daniel R. Davenport. John Blackwell. Madison Ross. Neil Hockmeyer. Carson R. Bizel. John Charles Dale. Corey Douglas Crozier. Andrew Michael Stottelmeyer. Michael Ray Parrott. Henry Pierce. Andrew F. Basenet. Zhao Tan. James Bennett Fitch. Ryan Forsyth. Teresa Lynn Fusilier. Jua Lee. James Lee Johnston. Troy Lewis Sparks. Juanshan Zhang. William Allen Schoenals. Ali Hakasme Hodi. Gavin Patrick Bauer. Heather Renee Gwill. Patrick Wayne Arnold. Caitlin Elizabeth Thomas. Miranda Zoller. Ryan Homan. Anthony William Ammerman. Cody Victor Simcoe. Mahmoud Khalifa Al-Hinay. Ashley Lynn Bradley. Rachel Graham Gantner. Caitlin Elizabeth O'Connor. Rebecca Lynn Mitchell. Andrew Faith. Matthew Faith, excuse me. Caleb Kyle Kohlmeyer. Claire Elizabeth Wood. Huang Jonathan Tran. Jordan Stepka. Glenn Cole. Matthew Charles Fincher. Rafael Angel Pabon Monano. Talisha Janae Christian. Troy Berman. Travis McClanahan. Deepthi Akilia. Bo Ran McDonald. Ding Pan. Jichung Zhong. Shin Lee. Sita Ram Makina. David Roulier. Ade Oyawoli.
The master's graduates may be seated. Will the doctoral graduates please rise and come forward to receive your diplomas and be invested in with the hoods emblematic of the Doctor of Philosophy.
Dr. Elem Alarbi. Dr. Maria Elizabeth Poole. Dr. Trang Lei. Dr. Xin Li. Dr. Saeed Rafipour. Dr. Javed Rafai. Dr. Jayanth Nair. Dr. Zhenjun Zhu. Dr. John Gerhardt Phillips. Dr. Ryan Schlesinger. Dr. Mark Rideout. Dr. Jiamin Zhang. Dr. Ashley Louie. Dr. Emily Kyer Cromwell. Dr. Susan Drevo. Dr. Jennifer Stewart. Dr. Kara Kerr.
Graduates, you may all be seated as well. Congratulations once again to all the graduates. It is now my pleasure to present those who will bring the charge to the graduates. We will hear first from President of the Student Association, Andrew Hansen, followed by Jackie Griffin, President of the Tulsa chapter of the TU Alumni Association.
Dr. Clancy, trustees, faculty, staff, friends, family, students, and graduates. It's a privilege to address you on this special day. I was once told that college is all about connections, and you all helped me learn what that really means. As students, there's an emphasis put on you to learn. You learn in and outside of the classroom, using your passions and talents to guide you. You learn about yourself and about your fields of study. You've learned how to work on teams, embracing people with different backgrounds, and using your differences to unite and grow in understanding and perspective. You've learned the value of hard work because you put in those extra hours researching for that paper or doing an extra experiment for your lab report. You've embraced a culture of free and open inquiry that I have no doubt you will carry with you for the rest of your life. But with as much as an emphasis that we put on learning as we do, we often forget about the other side of it. Teaching. Each of your learning experiences was impacted by someone, whether it's that professor that urged you to dig a little deeper into the material or the students that showed interest in your research. It could have been the people in an organization that helped you put on a really great event, or the friend that picked you up saying, "I believe in you," and reminding you of your own self-worth. Maybe it was the person who challenged your worldview, or the person that took the time to answer your extra question. For some of you, this might be just one person, or it may be many. But for all of you, there was at least one person who helped you learn and grow. Just as this person helped you, you helped someone else. College is about connections, and as much as it's about the connections you make that help yourself, it's about the connections you make that help others. For someone, you were that person. You helped inspire a deeper sense of understanding. You showed interest in something they were interested in and invested time and effort into their future. You were the person who challenged an established belief, and you were the one who helped shape their future. You might have done this for the person sitting next to you or someone that you've never met. But for someone, you were a role model, a mentor, a leader, or a friend. You helped them learn, you helped them grow, you changed their life. You took the benefits and possibilities granted to you and you passed them on. And today, that's my charge to you. Never stop letting people ask questions and helping them search for answers. Never give up an opportunity to share the values of wisdom, faith, and service. Invest in people and take that risk because you believe in their potential. Let someone know how much you value them. Today, while you're celebrating and someone inevitably tells you, "You're going to be a future leader," or "You'll change the world someday," I want you to look at them and say, "I already am," because at least for someone, you already are. Graduating class, thank you, and congratulations.
Do you remember the first time you stepped on campus? Do you remember the moment you realized TU was exactly where you were supposed to be? Will you ever forget the walk you just took across this stage? I know I remember when I did. As alumni of this incredible university, we get to carry that pride with us for a lifetime because your TU experience doesn't end here. As you make plans for your future, please remember that no matter where you go, you're a member of the TU family and a member of the TU Alumni Association. We've got 12 chapters and 22 clubs across the U.S., So the TU Alumni Association is here for you no matter where you go, or at least not too far away. Through those clubs and chapters, you can build a network in a new city, and I hope that you do. Help recruit students to your alma mater. Continue to show what it means to be a true blue neighbor in your communities where you live and work in the future. The only way, though, we can keep you updated on everything and also hear about your most recent bragging rights is to stay connected if you go to tualumni.com. Let us know how you're doing. Stay in touch. Share your address and email with us so that you can receive updates. We want to stay in touch with you as part of the family. Please be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Snapchat and probably many more to come in the next few years. Again, congratulations on all you've accomplished. On behalf of the TU Alumni Association, we wish only the best for your future, and we're so excited to have you as part of the TU family.
Thank you, Jackie and Andrew. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a final round of applause for the 140th graduating class of the University of Tulsa, class of 2017. As we close our ceremonies today, we will sing the alma mater, which is printed on the back of their program. Following that, Chaplain Francis will return to offer the final benediction. Not the final, I mean the benediction. And now please welcome TU Senior Lloyd Olds-Jones to lead us in the alma mater.
Hail to the alma mater, gold and blue. Praise from thy sons and daughters, old and new. Pride in our hearts, our voices let us raise. Filled with devotion, let us sing thy praise. Alma mater, now we honor, loyal, always true. We will lift our voice in chorus. Hail to Tulsa, you.
Thank you, Lloyd, and well done, well done. Before we close, one final note. This evening, we have a basketball game at 6 p.m. We'd like to invite you to it. We'd love to have you in attendance. But that means that the rental center crew is waiting very excitedly to have this turned back into a basketball arena. So we invite families, graduates, if you all might gather in the West Concourse right up there. There is a great seal of the university and some poinsettias. It will provide a great photo op. But we would invite you to do so instead of coming to the floor. Graduates, are you ready? Well, you might want to stand up. I'm grateful for my fellow alumni for Rilla Askew's comments today, particularly those about dreams and lifelong passion. I pray for you that as you have taken this step of commencing, that you take the next step, a step that is filled with zeal and with passion, that draws upon that gift that is inside of you, that is being drawn forward, that you do it with tenacity, that you do it with perseverance, but always shaped by those Oklahoma values of humility, of kindness, and of graciousness. You have a bright future, and I pray that the Lord would go before you, be behind you, be beside you, be above you, be beneath you, that He would lead you into the brightness that lies ahead. Take that next step. Let us go. In the Lord's name, amen.